This movie was very disappointing. Listen guys, I like The Expendables. I love The Expendables 2, so I was really looking forward to this movie. Yes, I did hear the news that it was going to be PG-13 like a couple months ago, and at first being mad about it, but I was kind of okay with it. I understand why they make that decision, because they want to make actual money at the box office. They want teenagers to actually go to the theaters to watch the movie. And I get it, because the Expendables series, they didn't really make as much money as they should at the theaters. The PG-13 thing, like I said, I was kind of okay with right before I watched the movie. I saw movies like Die Hard 4.0, which is also known as Live Free or Die Hard. I thought that was a very entertaining film. And yeah, when I first heard that was going to be PG-13 movie, and I was like, really? Die Hard gonna be PG-13? This is gonna bomb. But no, I watched the movie, and I was really entertained by it. Yes, I was kind of bummed about the PG-13 rating, but I didn't even notice. Really? No, I mean, Bruce Willis pretty much curses throughout the entire movie. You know what? The violence is still there. I mean, you see people's heads getting blown away and stuff like that. People die in very, very terrible deaths. And the action looks very good too. So, you know what? The Die Hard 4.0, good job. Really good. And I saw Brett Ratner's Hercules this year. And I still couldn't believe that was PG-13. Seriously, it should have been rated R. There's a lot of blood in this movie. Jesus Christ. Blood everywhere, bodies everywhere, decapitated heads on pikes, people's heads getting decapitated, people's arms getting chopped off, and the heroes are using giant blades on chariots to mow down their enemies. What? I was like, okay, if Hercules can pull it off, why not The Expendables 3? So I was like, okay, I can't wait to see this almost rated R violence. The PG-13 rating did mostly kill the movie, but it's not just that, it is also the script. The thing about this movie is that, for some reason, well, Sylvester Stallone has a big heart, so he wants to show the teenagers about these new action heroes. So he wants to show us all these new guys, and we should watch their movies in the future. So I get that. He wants everyone to see the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, or the next Sylvester Stallone, or the next female action hero. So I kind of got that. But the problem is, if you're going to shove these guys in our faces and they don't have a personality, we won't care about them. It was a failed attempt. I think the only person who benefited the most out of this new crew is Ronda Rousey. Yeah, she's badass. She was badass in this movie. But she's so bland. She barely talks. We don't even know a thing about her. She just kicks ass and looks good in it. That's it. And if that's all you want from Ronda Rousey, okay, but this is an action movie. And we have all these great action heroes from the 80s and 90s. And we have to care about her? Like I said, she barely said a word. Her catchphrase is basically, men. Men. That's all she does. And yes, she does have some awesome action moves, but the problem is, because this is PG-13, they cut off a lot of the violence. So every time she's about to snap a person's neck or shoot someone in the head, they cut at the very last frame right before you see blood coming out. So it's edited terribly. It did not do her justice. And same thing goes for the other guys. There are more blander than her, actually. I think Glenn Powell is the only one who can actually act. And yeah, he did some awesome parkour shit, but he didn't do that much in the movie either. Oh, I'm a computer hacker. I can hack things. I'm only doing it for like a minute, and then I get captured, and then I do parkour shit, and you're gonna keep cutting away to the other guys because they're doing something more awesome than I am. Victor Ortiz was a huge disappointment because I knew that he was a boxer. He didn't do any boxing. You see him shooting things up with a shotgun, and it's basically like watching a live-action Call of Duty movie with this guy, because he's using a shotgun that's very effective at long range. Seriously, he kills a guy 100 feet away from him, and they get blown away like it was a bazooka. Probably shotguns really work like that for the military, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Shotguns are not that good at long range, and he's an expert at it for some reason. But like I said, because this is PG-13, it cuts away at the last frame before you see the guy really blown away and stuff like that, so it's weird. He barely did any hand-to-hand combat also, so it was a waste for him. And Kellan Lutz, he acted better in this movie than he did in The Legend of Hercules, so at least that's a plus. And he's supposed to be like the leader of the new Expendables, but he didn't do much either. You don't see him doing that much badass shit. Sure, there was a badass stunt where his character was driving a motorcycle off the tail of this helicopter and he jumps 100 feet into the air, grabs a pole, and was shooting at two guys who were about to shoot at Sylvester Stallone. And because this movie focuses too much on the new guys, the original team gets sidelined for most of the movie, for like half the movie. Wesley Snipes, it's great to see him back on the big screen, especially when he's talking with Jason Statham and Sylvester Stallone, and they made an in-joke about him being in prison. He's like, I'm in it for tax evasion. And he's badass with his knives also, and I don't know if they used a stunt double for him, but I think that was actually him. He's jumping all over the place and stuff and beating people to shit. It was awesome. But even he's like, wait. So you're gonna recruit these new guys? Even though you just rescued me from this prison in the beginning of the movie, and you're not gonna use me until the final 20 minutes of the movie? What the hell, Stallone? Seriously, all the other guys were like, wait, you're not gonna use us for like 30 to 40 minutes of the movie? This is bullshit! Seriously, we want to have fun! All the actors want to have fun, but they get sidelined for these new guys who we don't even care about. And we're supposed to care about them because they get kidnapped. And here's the thing, this movie's very predictable, but the trailers showed everything about this movie. They did! We know the plot line of this movie. We saw that the Expendables were going to take down Mel Gibson, but something goes wrong, and Sylvester Stallone has to hire these new guys because he feels bad about his old team probably getting killed off because Caesar, yeah, Terry Crews gets offed in the first 10 minutes of the movie. We don't see Caesar until the final 2 minutes of the movie? I don't understand the decision in that. I guess it's just like the Jet Li thing from Expendables 2, but Jet Li had a good reason. The only reason why he's only in it for the first 10 minutes of the movie is because he had a scheduling conflict. He was filming a movie, I believe it's called The Sorcerer and the White Snake or The Great Snake or something like that, so I understand that. And Sylvester Stallone's like, okay, but we're gonna have one badass action scene from you. And Jet Li's like, okay, so yeah, Jet Li did his shit, and then he left for the Expendables 2. In here, Caesar only had a 30-second action scene, and that's only him using his awesome minigun, and he just ran out of bullets. That's it. Then he gets shot by Mel Gibson twice, and because of the way it was edited, I thought Caesar got shot in the ass. And then you see him in the hospital. I'm like, whoa. I thought he got shot in the ass. Why is he in the hospital and about to die? He got shot in the back then? The way it was shot, I thought he really got shot in the ass. It did make sense to me. But no, he's basically in the hospital bed for the rest of the movie until you see him again in the final 2 minutes. And in the trailers, you saw what's going to happen. The good guys survive, including Caesar. You see Terry Crews right over there. And the only person who didn't survive the movie is Mel Gibson. Yeah, I'm sorry for spoilers, but the trailers showed everything anyway. So sorry for the spoilers, but the trailer showed everything anyway. If you're gonna go all out in this movie, then go all out. This is the third Expendables movie. That's usually the final movie in the series. I mean, I don't know if there's gonna be the Expendables 4. I heard rumors about it, but only if this movie actually does well in the box office. And I heard that Pierce Brosnan wants to be the Expendables 4. I want to see Pierce Brosnan in the Expendables 4. It's James Bond, man. We gotta see him. But no, I don't think this movie's going to do well in the box office, even though it's going to be PG-13. And I hate to say this, guys, I almost don't want anyone to see this movie. Because there's gonna be a director's cut on Blu-ray anyway. That's how it feels like. This movie was shot to be rated R first, and then they cut it to make it PG-13 in the end. I hated that. And yes, there are a couple of awesome action sequences, but like I said before, this was edited terribly. As soon as you get pumped up for the final climax of the movie, which is basically 20 to 30 minutes of the Expendables shooting shit up in this abandoned, broken down building, and Mel Gibson is sending troops after troops after troops, and it's basically like watching a live-action Call of Duty game. And if you like that kind of stuff, no problem, but the problem is this is PG-13. And it's not even the Michael Bay PG-13 style. Michael Bay got away with a lot of stuff in Transformers 4. You know what? I hate to say this. I feel like Michael Bay should direct the 4th movie. Do you know how much money that would bring? Seriously, I know a lot of you guys are like, no, hell no. Make Michael Bay stay away from this. The Expendables want to make more money? Hire Michael Bay. Seriously, hell, there's even a rumor that Michael Bay doesn't want to direct Transformers anymore. He really wants Transformers 4 to be his final movie, actually. Yes, he did say that he wants to make another trilogy, but at the same time, you know, after hearing all the negative reviews and stuff, he's like, I'd probably have to pass it on someone else. Besides, I did Transformers 4 times. I'd rather do other movies. Hey, let's try Bad Boys 3 or something like that. You know what? I do like Michael Bay as a director. And yeah, he knows how to make things look good, even the explosions, make them pretty and stuff. Sure, his stories are stupid, but then again, the Expendables stories were already stupid. All I can say is that if Michael Bay did this, he would make it look good, honestly. I think he would. Or Sylvester Stallone directs it again and it's going to be rated R. Something, man. Do it. Rambo style. Rambo 4 was amazing. Everyone knows about the argument that everyone had with Bruce Willis because he wants to pay even more money for his very small role. But, you know what? Harrison Ford was a good replacement. And I love that every time they mention Bruce Willis's character, I believe his name is Church, they're like, oh no, he's been dismissed. You won't hear from him anymore. He's indisposed. And you see Jet Li and he's like, man, I like Church better. He is an asshole, but he's a nicer asshole. Oh yeah, Jet Li's role in this movie. He's only in it for like 10 minutes of the movie, and it's at the final scene. Yeah, the final action scene. And he doesn't do any martial arts at all. He just uses his gun. It's a giant machine gun. But I love when every time he talks with Arnold Schwarzenegger, because they're like giggling schoolgirls. It was funny. So they were talking to each other, whispering like, yeah, yeah. And Sylvester Stallone's like, Jesus Christ, guys, get a room. And they look at him like he's crazy. Then they still giggling. It was just great. And also, I love his line because it's the same shit he said in all 3 movies. I need more money. Yeah, in Expendables 1, he tells Sylvester Stallone, listen, man, I need more money, okay? For my future family. And in Expendables 2, he's like, you can't pay me enough anyway. I need more money. That's why he exited Expendables 2. And in this one, he doesn't team up with Sylvester Stallone anymore. No, he teamed up with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger hired Jet Li. And Jet Li's like, hey, he paid me more money. And everyone's like, Jet Li, what the fuck are you doing here? And Arnold Schwarzenegger, man, he had the most fun in this movie. It's just great to see him, but here's the problem. He is playing a parody of himself, so if you really don't want to see that, then you're gonna hate his performance, but I dug it. I really love it. I love to see action heroes having fun with themselves, and it's just great because he finally gets to be in the chopper for the first time in these movies, and he's like, get to the chopper! Everyone get to the chopper! What are you doing? Chopper! Chopper! It's the same skit we saw from Jimmy Kimmel, except he really goes into it. I love it. And then he's like, good morning, let's get to the chopper! And he's smiling every time he says it. I love it. If you think that joke is getting old very fast, then you're not gonna like his performance. That's basically what he does. He just says, let's get to the chopper! So many times. But I don't know, it's just funny. I love his lines, and I did like his interactions with Bruce Willis in the second movie. Every time they talk with themselves and referencing other movies like, yippee-ki-yay, I'll be back. You've been back long enough. I'll be back. Who is next? Rambo. You know, if you love Arnold Schwarzenegger in the second one, yeah, his performance is amped up in this one. And it's weird because I feel like he has more screen time in this movie, but not really that much compared to everyone else. Sylvester Stallone is still the main character of this movie, and it's usually Jason Statham who's the second main character. But no, Jason Statham also gets sidelined. So Terry Crews, Randy Couture, and Dolph Lundgren get sidelined the most because they barely have any scenes. And it's a shame because these guys, even Randy Couture, I actually liked him in the second movie. In the first movie, I didn't even care about him, but in the second one, I liked him. And at the third one, they didn't do that much in the movie. Also, Wesley Snipes. It's great to see him in the intro sequence. It's great to see him back. And then you sidelined him, and then when you show him up again, he doesn't have that many action scenes as well. And he deals with knives also, just like Jason Statham. But they don't really show it off. So when they throw a knife, you know, the second that they throw a knife and you see the knife coming towards the enemy's head, they cut it at that point. So it was just unsatisfying. Also, I forgot to mention the new Expendable in this movie, Antonio Banderas. Holy crap, what the hell happened to him? Because the last time I saw him, he was fat. Really fat in Haywire. Then you see him skinny and buff and he's doing all this crazy shit and jumps and all that stuff and sliding around and doing this parkour shit. Hell, he's even better than the new Expendables? What the hell? What? And also, he is insane. I felt like he was on drugs the entire time because he could not shut the hell up. And here's the problem with him. If you find him annoying in the first few seconds, you're going to find him annoying by the end of the movie. So, to me, he's 50% annoying, but 50% awesome. It's weird. Some of his lines made me laugh, and he can't shut the hell up. He's Speedy Gonzalez on crack. My god, Antonio Banderas was insane in this movie. And like I said, he could not shut the fuck up. But he was badass. Like I said, he jumps all over the place, shooting guns and stuff, kicking people to shit, and it was so good to see Zorro again on the big screen. In his prime, man. He was so good. Harrison Ford, yeah, he was great, but he was a bit wasted in this role because he barely does any action. Sure, he fights in a helicopter, but the problem is the helicopters are all CGI, and they're terrible CGI. You know the CG helicopter from Die Hard 5? That looks so much better compared to this. And the action scenes with the helicopters, they look terrible. Because you could tell it looks so fake. It's like PlayStation 2 cutscene helicopters. It's just bad looking. And Mel Gibson was so good in this movie. I really wanted more villains with him. I wanted like Nicolas Cage or John Travolta or anyone else. Hell, Jackie Chan as a bad guy fighting against Jet Li. That would be awesome to see. That would have been great. But Mel Gibson on his own, yeah, he was very good, but you wanted more villains or more henchmen or something because he was one of the ex-Expendables. So yeah, whenever he talks with Sylvester Stallone, it's just great. And I feel like that should have been a movie in itself because he used to form the Expendables and then people thought he died and then he was a traitor and then he's selling these nuclear weapons and then he finally meets up with Sylvester Stallone face to face in the van and it was just great stuff. It's Mel Gibson. He gave it his all. His final fight scene in the end with Sylvester Stallone was disappointing because we had Jean-Claude Van Damme in the second movie. That was an intense fight. It was because Jean-Claude Van Damme, you saw his arms, right? They were freaking guns, man. So Mel Gibson, even though he did kick ass, I knew that Sylvester Stallone was going to beat his ass easily, but no, Sylvester Stallone has to pretend that he's losing. Seriously, though, he's struggling with Mel Gibson, even though Sylvester Stallone's, like, bigger than Mel Gibson, and Mel Gibson is not, like, faster or anything. No. So, it was just weird to see Mel Gibson fighting off Sylvester Stallone. And Mel Gibson dies from a gunshot in the end. So, and the fight was very short. It's like less than a minute, like 45 seconds. So, it was very disappointing. So, guys, if you really want to see this movie, go right ahead. It's not really terrible. It's just disappointing, especially if you love the first two movies. You could clearly tell this was supposed to be rated R, but no, they chopped it down to PG-13, and you know there's going to be an unrated director's Blu-ray cut anyway, so that's why I really want people to go watch the movie when it's finally out on Blu-ray, but I do want this movie to make money because I love these guys. Well, most of these guys. Only 4 people I really don't care about. So, yeah, that's the thing. If you really want to see this movie, go right ahead. I won't stop you. And if you love the Expendables movies, go in with the lowest expectations, actually, because, like I said, it's edited badly to make this PG-13, and all your favorite action heroes and stuff, they get sidelined for most of the movie, so yeah, that's why I was really disappointed with this one. I really wanted a fun time with this, and I kinda got that just a little bit, but I was mostly disappointed. Hopefully this movie will do good in the box office. Hopefully the teenagers will watch this movie. Hopefully there will be another Expendables movie and Sylvester Stallone's like, you know what? Making PG-13 is stupid. We're gonna make it full-on rated R and make it bloody and violent. And hopefully we get to see Pierce Brosnan probably as a good guy or a villain in the next one. So that's my thoughts on the Expendables 3. If you watched the movie, let me know in the comments below on how you feel about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you find it better or worse than the previous 2 movies? Let me know. Well guys, until next time, See you later.